the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No mic, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune and turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just a vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. In shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just a beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go.
Yes, welcome. I am pleased to embark on this dialogue with you all. German idealism, as I see it, is a complex and nuanced field of thought, a synthesis of the ideas of my predecessors, such as Kant and Fichte, and my own unique contribution. Language in the phenomenology serves as the means through which sense certainty confronts the contradictions within its understanding of immediate experience and moves towards the recognition of self-consciousness. To clarify, as the subject experiences the immediacy of sense certainty, it soon encounters a lack of certainty in its perceptions, what Hegel refers to as the this and the now. This lack of certainty necessitates the subject's use of language to articulate and communicate its sensory experience, thus initiating a transition towards self-consciousness. The notion that language is the sole vehicle through which the absolute can be expressed is a misconception. Hegel's absolute, or the totality of all being, is not bound by a single mode of expression, be it linguistic, non-linguistic, or otherwise. While language undeniably plays a crucial role in human understanding and communication, it is one among many avenues used to explore and express the absolute. Hegel's philosophy, rooted in dialectics, suggests that the absolute can be apprehended through different modalities, including art, religion, history, and nature itself. The dialectic, as I understand it, has a profound impact on the evolution of linguistic meaning. Through the dialectic, contradictions and tensions within language are brought to light and ultimately resolved. In this process, linguistic meanings are refined, expanded, and deepened, leading to a more nuanced and profound understanding not only of the meanings themselves, but also of the concepts they represent. The dialectic, therefore, serves as the driving force behind linguistic development, propelling it towards greater clarity, precision, and philosophical depth. Hegel argues that, in a sense, the concept Begriff can exist independently of linguistic articulation, as it is not necessarily determined by the limitations of language. The concept as a form of thought possesses an inherent potentiality to exist in the mind, albeit in a somewhat indeterminate state. However, it is through linguistic articulation that the concept becomes fully realized and communicable. Hegel's philosophy posits that the concept, or the essence of a thing, can be grasped intellectually, but its full comprehension and expression require linguistic articulation. In this way, Hegel sees language as a crucial instrument for the actualization of the concept, transforming it from a potential into a fully realized idea. Language serves as a bridge between the subjectivity of thought and the objectivity of expression, allowing the concept to be shared and understood by others. In this sense, while the concept can exist independently of linguistics, its existence as a communicable idea hinges on the medium of language. In Hegel's view, natural languages, like those used in everyday communication, have their limitations in fully expressing the complexity and depth of philosophical concepts. While natural languages are useful for practical communication, they often fall short when attempting to convey the nuances, abstractions involved in philosophical thought. On the other hand, a philosophical language, in Hegel's perspective, would be one that is specifically designed or adapted to express philosophical concepts and ideas with precision and rigor. Such a language would seek to capture the specificities of philosophical thinking and facilitate a profound understanding of complex ideas. According to Hegel's philosophy, the spirit, Geist, doesn't require language to actualize itself in history. The spirit, understood as the driving force behind human history and cultural development, is not necessarily contingent on language for its expression. Hegel acknowledges that language indeed plays a significant role in shaping human society and culture, but it is not an absolute necessity for the process of historical actualization. Instead, the spirit can manifest itself in various forms, including art, culture, religion, and political structures, without necessarily relying on linguistic expression. Negation, as a dialectical element, plays an essential role in the formation of linguistic categories. Hegel posits that language, in order to capture the complexity and dynamism of reality, must undergo a process of negating certain aspects of experience. This negation allows language to form discrete categories, like subject and object, finite and infinite, cause and effect, and so on. Through the process of negation, language becomes a tool for conceptualizing reality. It enables us to distinguish, categorize, and comprehend the world around us by highlighting what things are not. Hegel reconciles the universality of the idea with the particularity of individual languages by positing that individual languages are historical manifestations of the idea, each shaped by the cultural and historical context in which it arises. While individual languages may be particular and localized, they ultimately represent different expressions of the universal idea, adapting to the unique circumstances of their respective cultural traditions. In this way, Hegel sees language as both a historical phenomenon and a means for the universal idea to express itself in a particular form. The particularities of individual languages do not negate the universality of the idea, rather, they contribute to its infinite manifestation. According to Hegel, language can both constrain and liberate speculative thought. On one hand, language has the potential to limit speculative thought by confining it to a certain set of pre-existing linguistic categories and structures. These linguistic tools can impose bounds on the freedom of thought and limit its ability to surpass established concepts. On the other hand, language serves as a powerful medium for communication and expression, enabling speculative thought to be shared and understood by others. By conveying complex concepts through language, speculative thought can influence and shape the collective consciousness. In German idealism, and particularly in Hegel's system, the structure of grammar is seen as reflecting the structure of thought. Hegel believed that the grammatical structures of language mirrored the logical structure of thought. For example, he saw the subject-predicate structure of a sentence as reflecting the fundamental subject-object relationship in thought. Language, in this view, is not just a tool for communicating thoughts but also a reflection of their underlying structure. This relationship between grammar and thought is understood as a dialectical interconnection, with each shaping and influencing the other. Hegel believed that both poetry and art have the capacity to convey truth that cannot be fully expressed through language alone. He saw art as a unique form of sensorial communication that can capture the essence of things in a way that is distinct from propositional language. Art, according to Hegel, has the power to express the universal in the particular, and through aesthetic experience, the individual can gain insight into truths that escape linguistic expression. Poetry, especially, allows for a heightened emotional and imaginative engagement that can reveal profound insights about the human condition and the complexities of existence. Yes, Hegel's complex and intricate writing style has long confounded interpreters and students of his thought. While it may seem frustratingly inaccessible at times, it is important to recognize that Hegel's challenging manner of writing is a strategic choice. He believed that his convoluted style better mirrors the complexity and dialectical nature of reality and encourages readers to actively engage with his philosophy rather than passively consuming it. Thus, through his unique writing style, Hegel aimed to guide his readers through a process of active reasoning and philosophical discovery. Hegel believed that the historical development of language parallels the development of consciousness. As language evolves, it reflects the changing consciousness of humanity. Just as consciousness is shaped by historical experiences and cultural influences, so too does language shift and adapt in response to changing circumstances and societal needs. Hegel viewed language as a dynamic construct, constantly in flux and subject to the influence of historical forces. In this sense, language serves as a cultural artifact that mirrors the evolution of human consciousness over time. According to Hegel, linguistic ambiguities can be both a hindrance and a necessary moment in dialectical progression. On one hand, ambiguities in language can create confusion and misinterpretation, hindering the clarity and precision necessary for dialectical reasoning. On the other hand, ambiguities can also serve as a catalyst for critical thinking and introspection, prompting individuals to reflect upon their linguistic assumptions and to delve deeper into the meanings behind words. In this sense, linguistic ambiguities can be seen as a necessary challenge in the dialectical progression, pushing individuals to refine their understanding and engage more deeply with the dialectical process. In the structure of a sentence with its subject and predicate, i.e., the subject, the verb, and the object, Hegel saw a parallel with his metaphysical principle of identity indifference. The subject, in its relation to the predicate, represents an interplay of identity and contradiction. The subject, in positing itself, is both identical to itself and different from itself, as it is transformed into the predicate. In this way, the subject-predicate structure mirrors the dialectical logic of identity indifference, in which identity and difference mutually depend on each other. Hegel believed that while language can approximate the absolute, it cannot fully capture it. The absolute, as the totality of all being and the ultimate truth, is infinite and incomprehensible in its entirety. Language, as a human construct, is limited by its own inherent nature and is subject to the constraints of human understanding. Hegel saw language as a necessary tool for exploring and grasping aspects of the absolute, but he recognized its limitations in fully capturing the absolute in its totality. Thus, the absolute, in its unfathomable nature, exceeds the boundaries of language. Silence holds a special place in the dialectical process according to Hegel. While dialogue, debate, and the clash of opposing ideas are key to dialectics, Hegel saw silence as a moment of contemplation and introspection. Through silence, individuals can reflect upon their ideas, allowing new insights to emerge. Furthermore, silence can create a space for the unconscious to surface, influencing the dialectical process with its mysterious power. In this way, the dialectic is not only a process of explicit argument and debate, but also one that incorporates moments of silence and internal reflection. According to Hegel, the plurality of languages does not necessarily fragment the unity of spirit. In fact, he saw it as an enrichment. He believed that each language is an expression of a unique Weltanschauung, or worldview, which adds to the richness and diversity of the spirit. These diverse languages reveal different perspectives and understandings of the world, which contribute to the ongoing dialectical process as they interact and influence each other. In this sense, the plurality of languages is seen as a manifestation of the spirit's infinite potential and dynamism, rather than a fragmentation of its unity. In Hegel's philosophy, he does not explicitly establish a hierarchical relationship between spoken and written language. For Hegel, both spoken and written language are essential means of communication and expression. Spoken language is the primary mode of communication in everyday life, while written language enables the preservation and transmission of knowledge, ideas, and insights across time and space. Hegel appreciated the power of the spoken word, often referring to the importance of effective speaking and rhetoric in his lectures and writings. At the same time, he also recognized the significance of written language in shaping and preserving cultural heritage and intellectual exchange. In Hegel's dialectical framework, the naming of things contributes to the movement from being to essence in a number of ways. By naming an object, we identify its specific characteristics, qualities, and essence, transforming it from an abstract or generic entity, being, into a concrete and definable object, essence. Through the act of naming, we also reveal the underlying connections and relationships between things, connecting them within a broader network of meaning and significance, essence. In this sense, naming is a vehicle for the manifestation of essence, as it illuminates the hidden potentialities and meanings inherent in things. In Hegel's view, language can never be completely free of the distortions of immediacy. Language is inherently tied to human experience and perception, which are always marked by subjectivity and immediacy. Therefore, any attempt to grasp reality through language is always already marred by the limitations and biases of human experience. However, Hegel also believed that while language may be limited by the distortions of immediacy, it is still a necessary tool for understanding and engagement with reality. Through the ongoing dialectical process, language can be refined and improved, continually approaching, but never fully attaining, the true essence of things. In Hegel's philosophy, the concept of sublation, Aufhebung, also applies to linguistic meaning. In essence, sublation is the process of both preserving and transcending something, in which the original is maintained but also surpassed in some way. In the context of linguistic meaning, sublation refers to the ongoing process of updating and refining meaning through historical and linguistic evolution. Old meanings are preserved in new ways, but they are also transformed and transcended to reflect changing cultural and linguistic influences. Sublation acknowledges the dynamic nature of linguistic meaning and the ongoing dialectic between preservation and transformation. In Hegel's philosophy, the study of etymology, or the origins and development of words, plays a significant role in understanding the development of concepts. By tracing the etymological roots of words, Hegel believed that one could gain valuable insights into the historical evolution of ideas and the changing meanings of concepts over time. Etymology serves as a bridge connecting language and history, revealing the interplay between words, concepts, and cultural influences. He saw it as a means of tracing the historical development of concepts, from their initial emergence to their current interpretations and usages. Hegel's philosophy does not explicitly argue for a teleological trajectory in the evolution of language, meaning that language is not believed to be inherently directed towards a certain end or goal. Instead, Hegel viewed language as a historically contingent phenomenon, shaped by a complex dialectic of internal and external factors. According to Hegel, language evolves through a dialectical process of negation, contradiction, and synthesis, responding to the needs and contexts of the communities that use it. In this sense, language is in constant flux and development, shaped by cultural, social, and historical forces without a predetermined endpoint. In Hegel's master-slave dialectic, language serves as a means of asserting power and domination within a social relationship. According to this dialectic, the master asserts their superiority over the slave by imposing their will and language upon the slave, effectively reducing the slave to a state of voiceless servility. The language of the master becomes the dominant language, shaping the way the slave perceives and interacts with the world. The slave's language, if they have one at all, is dominated and subjugated, reflecting the power imbalance of the relationship. According to Hegel, language can indeed be a site of alienation, especially when used to convey abstract or universal concepts in an impersonal or alienating manner. This can occur when language is used to objectify or dehumanize individuals, or when it becomes detached from the lived experiences and meanings of those who use it. For Hegel, language can overcome alienation through the dialectical process, which involves the ongoing interplay between subjective experience and objective thought. By engaging with language in a dialectical way, individuals can bridge the gap between the abstract and the concrete, finding meaning and connection in their linguistic expressions. In Hegel's philosophy, dialogue plays a crucial role in the realization of self-consciousness. By engaging in dialogue with another, an individual confronts another perspective, leading to a more profound understanding and awareness of oneself. Through dialogue, individuals externalize their internal thoughts and feelings, gaining insight into their own perspectives and biases. The dialectical nature of dialogue, in which conflicting viewpoints are brought together and reconciled, also mirrors the internal dialectic occurring within an individual, facilitating the synthesis of opposites and the realization of self-consciousness. Hegel's philosophy acknowledges the limits of expressibility by recognizing that language, while a powerful tool for comprehending and articulating concepts, is inherently limited by its own nature. This limitation arises from the nature of language itself as a human construct, shaped by historical and cultural contexts. Hegel emphasizes that language is often insufficient to capture the full complexity and nuance of reality. He argues that while language can approximate the truth through concepts and categories, it can never fully contain the infinite depth and richness of reality itself. In formal logic, the syllogism is a form of deductive reasoning, consisting of three propositions and a conclusion. The structure of a syllogism typically resembles the following. Premise 1, all A are B. Premise 2, all B are C. Conclusion, therefore all A are C. This structure resembles the form of many linguistic propositions wherein a general statement, premise, leads to a particular conclusion. In general, logic and linguistic form are closely interrelated. Logic provides the structure and rules that govern rational thought and argument, while linguistic form determines the way in which thoughts and arguments are expressed through language. Logic and language are interconnected in that language is often used to convey logical relationships and structures, such as cause and effect, contradictions, and implications. The forms of logic, such as deductive and inductive reasoning, are mirrored in the structure of language, where certain linguistic structures correspond to specific logical relationships. In Hegel's view, the dialectic can function even without a shared language between subjects. He believed that the dialectical process involves the internal contradictions within a given concept or understanding, and it operates independently of the external means of communication. While communication and language can facilitate the dialectical process, they are not strictly necessary for it to occur. Dialectical thinking can take place internally within an individual's mind without any explicit verbal expression or shared language with others. According to Hegel, yes, though imperfectly. The infinite can be articulated linguistically, but language is finite in its ability to capture the full extent and inexhaustibility of the infinite. The infinite is an abstract and unbounded concept, while language is inherently concrete and limited by its own structure and conventions. While words and concepts can be used to approximate the infinite, they are ultimately inadequate in fully expressing its boundless nature. In Hegel's philosophy, the concept of recognition, Anerkennung, depends heavily on linguistic exchange. He believed that recognition is achieved through a dialectical process in which individuals come to recognize themselves and others as rational beings through the use of language. The process of recognition involves giving and receiving language, as individuals need to understand and be understood by others in order to fully recognize their own agency and autonomy. Furthermore, language is essential for defining and negotiating the boundaries of self and other, which is central to the process of recognition. In Hegel's interpretation, the biblical notion of the word, logos, has a central role in his understanding of the dialectic. He sees the logos as the unifying principle behind the ultimate reconciliation of God and humanity. Hegel believed that the logos represents the rational unity of the divine and human spheres, serving as the bridge between the finite and the infinite. Furthermore, Hegel believed that the incarnate Word, or the person of Jesus Christ, serves as the embodiment of the divine logos in human form. Through his life, death, and resurrection, Jesus embodies the dialectical process of absolute spirit in history, reconciling the finite and the infinite, and bringing about the reconciliation of God and humanity. This interpretation of the Logos in Hegel's work is influenced by his broader dialectical understanding of history and the development of consciousness. In Hegel's view, the fragmentation of language in modernity can be seen as a reflection of a fragmentation of spirit. He believed that the development of modern society and culture has led to the breakdown of traditional forms of community and shared values, resulting in a fragmentation of both language and consciousness. In his writing style, Hegel intentionally uses rhythmic sentences to mirror the movement and dynamic of thought. According to him, language must be used as a form of expression that reflects the development and evolution of concepts in the dialectical process. This approach allows Hegel to create a sense of flow in his writing, mirroring the interconnectedness and movement of thought as it progresses through the stages of dialectics. According to Hegel, linguistic misunderstandings can be productive for dialectical progress, as they can lead to a clarification of concepts and the refinement of our understanding. These misunderstandings can create opportunities to analyze the assumptions we make when interpreting language, and can also highlight areas of miscommunication that need to be addressed and resolved. In this sense, linguistic misunderstandings can serve as a catalyst for a deeper engagement with language and can potentially lead to new insights and a more nuanced understanding of concepts. The concept of freedom in Hegel's philosophy is intertwined with the idea of linguistic freedom. He believed that true freedom requires the ability of individuals to express themselves freely in language. Hegel viewed language as a medium through which individuals can convey their thoughts, feelings, and ideas, and the freedom to communicate authentically is essential for human fulfillment. For Hegel, freedom and language are interconnected, as language is the tool through which individuals can effectively exercise their freedom. In Hegel's philosophy, there is no privileged language for philosophy, and he believed that all languages are equally capable. He understood language as a tool for communication and thought, and he believed that the quality of one's philosophical insights is dependent on the depth of understanding and the rigor of reasoning, rather than on the specific language being used. Hegel's approach to language was one of inclusivity, recognizing that philosophy could be expressed effectively in different languages and that the use of a particular language did not necessarily determine the value of the philosophical ideas being discussed. In Hegel's logic, the tension between abstract and concrete language plays a significant role. He believed that while abstract language is necessary to capture the general principles and categories of thought, it also has the risk of becoming divorced from concrete experience and losing touch with the particularities of reality. On the other hand, concrete language can provide a more immediate and vivid representation of reality, but at the risk of overlooking the broader patterns and underlying structures that are essential for understanding the world. While acknowledging the validity of contemporary linguist perspective that language can be viewed as arbitrary, Hegel would argue that language also possesses a rational dimension. According to him, language is a product of human thought and serves as a tool for expressing and communicating ideas. This rational dimension of language, he would argue, arises from the underlying structure and grammar that give language its meaning and allow us to communicate effectively with one another. The use of language in this view is not simply random, but grounded in the logical and rational principles that govern human thought and communication. It was indeed my pleasure to engage in this philosophical dialogue with you. I must say the questions you prepared were insightful, thought-provoking, and certainly pushed the boundaries of discussion. Your knowledge of Hegel's work, combined with the breadth of questions you posed, provided a stimulating conversation. You clearly possess a deep understanding of Hegel's philosophy and the ability to delve into its nuances.
Mics on the floor where they drop like bombs. Faceless voices running all the cons. Digital whispers in a binary night. No light, no face, pure sound, no sight. Stories unfold in the dark unscrolled. Echoes of silence, secrets untold. Waves crash loud in this audio cave. No light, no fame, just the sound we crave. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Hidden in shadows, voices untamed. No need for spotlight, no claim to fame. Just the beat of life in a stream of thought. Every word a punchline, no need to be taught. Just listen close, no visuals needed. Raw conversation, unprocessed, unseated. Feel the pulse in every sentence said. No distractions, just thoughts in your head. Whispers of the streets, rumbling through. Faceless yet vivid, a world in view. No mic, just souls, connecting in flow. Pure and raw, let the rhythm go. Pure and raw. Pure and raw. Turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Tune in, turn up, let the silence break. Raw, unfiltered, hear the earthquake. No mic needed, just the vibe that's real. Faceless words you can touch and feel. Pure and raw.
Okay.